How we doing, Cowboys? This is Mr. Lankin coming to you with some more PowerPoint knowledge. Today we're going to talk about how to turn your PowerPoints into videos and also how to make your PowerPoints run automatically. These videos that you make and these PowerPoints that you automatically run are ways that you can get information to people without you being there. A lot of times, yes, these PowerPoints are done for presentations. You're going to be in front of the screen. You're going to be talking to people. As I did as a second shift supervisor doing safety demonstrations, like I told you guys before. But sometimes people aren't going to be there for the presentation. They're going to be absent that day. They're going to be sick. They're going to need to see your presentation. And if you are unavailable or you're busy or you don't want to do it for the 10th time for the person who just now got back, or whatever situation you may find yourself in, perhaps this is going to be a presentation that is always available to people at your workplace. Then you're going to need to be able to have ways for your PowerPoint voiceover to narrate the PowerPoint slides. And there's a couple ways of doing that, and I'm about to show you how they go. Let's switch to the split screen now. Okay, so this is a presentation that was done previously as part of the schoolwork and class. In a previous year. It's a college career fair, just a demo, just something that comes out of the book really. And you put the information in, and we've got a few pictures that we use in the presentation, and there are some animations. There are some animations that go with it that put out the words and put out the pictures in a similar time frame. Words based on the pictures, and you have slides with this information, slides with that information. The whole thing's just all ready to go. But let's say you want to have your presentation be something that constantly rotates. Some of you may have gone down to the counseling office and seen that they have a TV in the counseling office, and that sometimes is on, and it has a rotating set of information that it goes through. And you may say to yourself, well, that looks like a PowerPoint, and you'd be right. But, as you all know, when you run a PowerPoint, what happens? You get here. The black screen of death, they call it. Okay? So, your PowerPoint ends up not, continuing. It stops. And that's true for pretty much every PowerPoint. But there are ways you can get it to continuously run. If you are working with the PowerPoint right now, you could probably be able to see it, but if you don't have a PowerPoint available to you, take a look at my screen. I will show you. Go to the Slideshow tab. And on the Slideshow tab, you can see that there's a number of buttons here. Okay? Starting the slideshow from the beginning, starting from the current slide that you happen to be on, which if you're on the last slide would make a pretty short slideshow. Let's go back to slideshow 1. So you got from beginning, from current slide. These are starting places for the real presentation, not the demonstration that occurs on your board here. Ways to present online, ways to set up a custom slideshow. But here are the important ones. Setting up the slideshow and recording a slideshow. Let's talk about setting up the slideshow first. If you click on this button, you're going to get a little pop-up menu. Pop-up menu is going to give you some options. It's going to ask you what kind of presentation mode are we going to be in. Is this going to be with a speaker and the presentation is going to go full screen? Or is this going to be browsed by an individual looking at it in a window such as this? Or are we going at like some kind of kiosk, like in an iPad or something like that? These are just ways that PowerPoint is able to help you out with the way that you might be presenting. It might resize things, make things different, change a few options, stuff like that for these three. Okay? Now, if you want to run a slideshow continuously, here's the button that you click. You get a little check mark in this box that says loop continuously until escape. Okay? If you look down at your keyboard right now, up in the top left corner, above the 1s and 2s and 3s, on the left-hand side, you will see an ESC button, which is the escape button. And if you have this checked off and you say OK and you run your slideshow is going to run. Keep running until you press the escape key. And and then it pops out. Let's try it again. I'll let it run through an entire slideshow presentation. We'll go from the beginning. Getting to the end of it. And here we are back again. Okay, let's press the escape key. Bada bing, we're out. Okay, so as you can see, when you have that setup slideshow, loop until escape, loop continuously until escape, it will continually play the slideshow over and over again, going from the last slide to the first slide without the black screen of death until you press the escape key on the keyboard. Okay? Some things to talk about here. Show without narration. Narration is you talking over the slides. So you could show it without the voiceover. Show without animation just gives the general information in the slides and it doesn't do all your fancy stuff. Now why would you select that? You work so hard on your animations. But sometimes less is more, and you can just put the information out there, leave it up for 10 seconds, and then go on to the next slide. This is another button that you could push. Disable hardware graphics acceleration. I don't know why you would do that, but it is an option that you could have. Maybe your computer is older and slower. Who knows? Another option that you could have is maybe most of the information here is good, but maybe there's a few things that are not particularly relevant to this certain situation that you may find yourself in, and you may change what shows on the slideshow. You could show all of your slides. You could show slides from a certain number to a certain number, but let's say you wanted to get rid of slide 3 because it's not relevant. Well, then you'd have to go to here and say custom show. Okay? You could do that. But it doesn't seem to want to push the button. That is unfortunate, but that is how you would do it. You could do a custom slideshow and say that you want to do slides 2, 3, and 4, or slides 1, 4, and 6. Okay? You would just click this button, you would set them up in the thing that you need to do, and bada boom, bada bing, there you go. Okay? Advancing slides. You can choose to advance slides manually, aka with button pushes, or using timings. Now, that involves the transitions, telling you when to run a slide. That also involves the animations, how many animations you have on there. If you set it up to use timings if present, and you have transitions, and you have animations, if you have a 10-second transition and 15 seconds worth of animation, you're going to have a problem. Always make sure your transitions, are delayed by at least the amount of time that your total animations go. And a little bit extra, because an animation that brings in that last line of text on the bottom, you don't want the screen to immediately flip to the next slide. You want to give people time to read that last line of text. Okay? So maybe an extra 5 seconds after the last line has shown up. So if you have 15 seconds worth of animation, set your slides to transition after 20 seconds, giving everything enough time to read. Okay? Alright, so that is how you would get a slideshow to repeat continuously if you've got something like they have in the counseling office where you have a slideshow that just needs to be repeated all day long so that students in the waiting area can see relevant information while they wait to talk to the counselors, or whatever situation you may find yourself in. Continuously looping advertisement, continuously looping information screens about your business, or what sales are available to customers, and anything really. Lots of different ways that could be used by a person who wants to get information out without having to be there. Okay, so now let's talk about recording the slides. My wife does this, and I had to show her how to do it, and it was pretty funny because it takes a little getting used to, and it also takes a little while for you to script yourself and do the things properly. When you record a slideshow, each individual slide will have its own little voice box narration. Okay, if you remember from the other day when we were putting in music, there was this little symbol right here, which is the music button. And that's basically like whatever music you put into the slideshow, it plays as it goes on. Okay, and if you've got it playing across all slides, it plays on every single slide. What also happens with this, you can set narrations. Okay, you can set a narration to the video where you do the talking that you would normally do during a presentation, and it records it, and then you can save it, and then you never actually have to talk about it again. You could just run the slideshow without you even being there. Now, for some people, that's not a good idea. The whole purpose of you having a presentation is for you to be there talking to the people and giving them these pointy fingers. But if you just want this to run without you being there, then this is the kind of thing that you can do to have it automatically playing and giving people information without you having to be there telling them personally. So let's talk about it. Go down to the record slideshow, and you can record from beginning or you can record from the current slide. Let's say you don't want to put anything in current slide number 1. You could just select a current slide number 2 and then say record from current slide. Okay, but if we're on slide 1, we can go ahead and say record from current slide. Okay, or begin. And you click it and it'll start the slideshow. And then there's going to be a little button at the top that allows you to continue with the thing, or to pause it, or to stop it, or something like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and click it and try it out. Record from here. Welcome. Okay, you may not be able to see it, but on my second screen here, I've got the control panel for this documentation. Okay, and you would be able to click it and record, and you would say, welcome to the slideshow. And then you would hit the next button, and we'll go to the next slide, and you would say, who is coming? National corporations will be at this career fair. Progressive companies will be looking for high-quality candidates. Local companies with full-time and part-time jobs. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you would actually do the notation and things like that. You'd actually say things about each slide, and then at the end you would say stop. It would go all the way through the slideshow. And every time you did a little slide, it would have the new information. Okay? Now be careful if you've got this set up for continuous rotation, because it will go back to slide 1. So if you want to, you should go and take care of that by clicking that off, doing the talking, and then getting out of it. Okay? Now, after the fact, I didn't record mine. I just wanted to demonstrate it. After the fact, on each of the pages, you will have one of these little speech buttons, and it will be able to play whatever it was that we were taught, like you said, during that slide. You may redo individual slides if that's what you need to do, because maybe you screwed up one of your voiceovers or something like that. It took my wife a few tries getting used to it, but eventually she got the hang of it, and it's pretty neat whenever you get it done. Okay, now Microsoft's pretty smart. They've got the ability to do subtitles on this kind of stuff. You can actually set the kind of subtitles that you want on it. You can have it choose to try and figure out your English subtitles. You can show where those subtitles go. Okay, all of that stuff is available to you and possible in Microsoft Office. Now, let's say you're all done. So you've got everything figured out. You've got your narrations. You've said everything you need to say on each slide. And let's say that you found out that the majority of the people that do this stuff and want to look at this will not be able to do it with PowerPoint because they don't have PowerPoint. Okay, well, let's make a video out of it then. Go to File. And go down here to Export. Export will allow you to create a video. You can also create an animated GIF, but I don't know about that one. I like to go with create a video because it is better in my opinion. Okay? Creating a video, you've got options. You can crank it out in full HD, Ultra HD, regular old 720 HD, and standard 480 pixels. It's the smallest file size and it's the lowest quality, but guess what? Most videos that you see on the internet, nowadays it's like there's a little bit more resolution to them. A lot of stuff is 720, but for the most part, videos that you see online are going to be 480. Why? Because it's the smallest file size, and that means that it's easiest to download on the internet, which means it's quickest to download on the internet, which means that people won't get tired of waiting for your video to show up. It gets downloaded quickly, and then it gets turned into playing quicker. Okay? Now, you can also set whether or not to use your recording timings and narrations. If you set it to not use it, it's just going to automatically figure it out on its own. It's going to use the animations, and that's basically all it's going to figure out. It's like just as soon as the last animation goes, it rolls to the next one. It's a little bit tricky to get this one to work that way. That's why I recommend you use your narrations and timings. Okay, you can also record them here and preview them here before you set up the turning into a video function. Okay, now once you're done, second suspend on each slide is also an option. You can manually set it at this juncture to do it. That's only if you don't have animations and timings already set up. Okay, this one is an automatic thing. If you do it this way and you've got more timings on the thing or more animations, it will cut them off. It's going to be weird looking. Okay, now click your button to create the video. It'll ask you to give it a name and save it in the location, and then you'll see down here at the bottom sometime pretty soon, yep, there it goes. It's going to give you a progress bar of how long it's going to take to write this file. The bigger the file, the more pictures, the more animations, the more videos and things like that you may have in your thing, the longer it's going to take. If it's a very simple file with not a lot of pictures and stuff like that, it's going to take a while to create the video. Once it's done, though, let's see. I will see if I can find that video real quick here. Let's see if I can find where it went. Just a second more, folks. Won't take too much longer. Huh? Where did it say it went to? Having a little bit of trouble. Give me a second. Oh, okay. It's in the PowerPoint folder and not in the test folder. Okay, let's see then. Okay. Now, here it is. Okay, so, what? Hang on, hit the wrong thing. Export, video, set a few things, create the video, and voila. You have a video of the PowerPoint that you just made. Okay, pretty good stuff. Hopefully I was informative to you. All right, Cowboys, now, go back to the Google Classroom. There will be a Google form, little quiz waiting for you. I guarantee you're going to have a very easy time with this quiz. Let's see who's participating. Let's see who's been paying attention. If you notice behind me, there we go, right here. I have a message for my seniors. If you are a senior in my class, happy trails. It's been a pleasure teaching you. Hopefully you guys are going to have great lives. And you will use this PowerPoint information because you're going to be supervisors, making presentations to people someday, and that's because you're the boss. Okay? I hope you guys have a good time. As for the rest of the classes, juniors, seniors, sophomores, there will be a couple more weeks of this before we get out of here. Keep tuning in to this channel. Keep getting your work from me, taking those quizzes, doing those projects if it's a project, and I will see you guys next time.